Hey mates, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eyes. I'm your host Blind Prime, and for today we are going to be covering the thing that I've been wanting to cover for a few years now. We're covering Devastator in all of his green and purple glory. So I got in front of me Devastator with Omega Supreme and Roadhauler in front of him because, why not just start off big, One second, I'm trying to find a place to put my my zapper for today. I think I can set you up here. Come here. Right there. Perfect. All right. So, if you aren't aware, my name's Blind Prime, and I run a channel that raises awareness for the blind and the visually impaired through alternative means and methods. So this is including to, but not limited to, talking about Transformers. Because I figured, how much fun would it be for a sighted person to enjoy a blind person's perspective on a Transformer? Sometimes, I see things that other people don't. And that's the benefit of being blind. And also, I call this series More Than Meets the Eyes because this series is about what you can't see. This series is about what you can feel with your hands and not what you can see with your eyes. Because sometimes, the packaging may be filled with all sorts of shiny baubles that makes your eyes go, ooh. But when you pull it out of the packaging, it makes your hands go, ew. And so that's why I do this. It's to give you an idea of what the figure's actually like in hand without ever looking at it. So we don't discuss paint here. We don't discuss smudging or things like that. We're not that nitpicky. We're just talking about how it feels in the hand in the construction of the toy or the action figure, whatever we're happen to be talking about. So for today, we're talking about Studio Series 86 Devastator because Studio Series 86 Devastator is something I have absolutely been wanting for a while. I was not a fan of CW Devastator, and I can't mention that enough. That figure was such a letdown to me. I was so excited when I got it, and then I put it together, and it fell apart, and I'm like, this sucks. Why did I spend money on it? I hate it. And that's my opinion. I know there's some people out there that may love CW Devastator, but not me. Not me. Maybe those are the people that bought all the add-on kits to make it as good as possible. But at the end of the day, you can't fix that nasty feeling plastic. You just can't. And this guy wins it. So, without further ado, please hit the like button. Comment below talking to me about what is your favorite combiner? Because since we're talking about combiners, I've got a couple of them to compare with Devastator. And let me know about your favorite combiners. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please share with your friends and family. Be like, hey, check out this blind guy. Look what this blind guy's doing. Did you know a blind guy could do this? It's always fun to get somebody on that, that's for sure. So let's start the video off right. And I had a request from a listener/viewer. We're going to set Omega Supreme over there. I love that Omega Supreme can just kind of set wherever you put him. So we're going to drag Devastator back a bit. I guess that means we're going to have to shift some things over here. Shift Superion. Shift Menasor. Nuts. I don't know what that was. That was probably what I was looking for. It just fell. We're going to set you back. Okay, where is... Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for that fell. Okay. So we've got, first and foremost, because I've... Nuts. Let's set you back up. There you go. That's better. Okay. So we've got Roadhauler here to start this video off with. I figured let's start with the unofficial 7th member of the Constructacons, and that is Roadhauler, the one who was sick. He wasn't at work that day whenever Megatron used that giant purple machine with all the tentacles to take over the Constructacons. So Roadhauler here, the top of his head goes to the bottom of the groin for Devastator. This is wild. He's a big Voyager when it comes to height, but Devastator devastates, and that is for sure. This is wild. I like how this guy kind of just compares. Like, you know what? It's the things you miss out on whenever you call in sick to work. That's what Roadhauler's story is. So we're gonna set Roadhauler over here off to the side, where he hopefully will be out of view of the camera and stuff. And now let's bring in a request. VCR Tape Mom, a listener of my channel, requested that I use Hotlink, but I don't know where my Hotlink's at. So I just grabbed a Seeker mold. Because I got all but 3 of them. You know, I don't have Skywarp, I don't have Red Wing, and I don't have the dead one. Those are the 3 I'm missing and I really want. But we've got this one. Whichever this one is compared to Devastator. So, you know, setting them up in the center. They're the top of the little vent things on either side go all the way up to almost the top of Devastator's skirt. But not quite there, but really close to the top of Devastator's skirt. I guess we could also compare hands. So raise your hand up, do a fist bump with Devastator. Devastator, do a fist bump. Devastator. Listen to me, Devastator. There it goes. Yeah, fist bump. Boom. Now that's why the difference in their hands. It's just, his hand is so tiny, and he's got a seat. It's so tiny. Devastator, raise his arm up like he just won a contest. There it goes. Yeah. Look at this. He's the champion. Okay. Now, for funsies, let's look at their head comparisons. Flip them over. There we go. And that is a head comparison. Because, I don't do enough of these. Whoa. So, the Siege Seeker mold's head is like 1/8 the size of Devastator's head? Whoa. It's wild how much different those heads are. Okay, so that is the Siege Seeker mold. I looked for Hotlink, but instead I got the Amazon exclusive one with that's supposed to be a swordsman. I'm spacing on the name because there's a lot of those Seekers. The only ones I ever remember are the ones I don't have. Okay, now let's take a look at him compared to Menasor here, because Menasor is an important one. Hey, what's going on here? You got to lower your arm down, raising your weapon towards Menasor. I know you want to beat him up, but chill out, Superion. Okay, there we go, and bringing in the Menasor for the little comparison. Nuts. What was that? Oh, that was Hook's gun. It just fell off. All right, so Menasor and Devastator are really close to the same height. Let's turn you around. These big guys are difficult to turn around. And where's that gun so nobody steps on it? We're going to set it over there. Okay, good. And turn you sideways. There we are. Now let's take a look at them face to face. Look at the... What's going on here? What's stopping? What's stopping you guys from me? Oh, you're holding your sword. Just do that. There you go. Yeah. All right. Okay. Nope. And Devastator needs to stand tall. And Menasor, do you need to stand tall? There you go. Menasor needs to stand tall too. There it is. Both at their heights. And Menasor and Devastator are close to the same height, but Devastator definitely is slightly taller. He isn't much taller, but he is taller. He's the bigger combiner, but not by much, but by enough, I think. He is definitely the bigger combiner. Let's take a look at weight-wise. Devastator wins, but surprisingly not by much. But just, yeah, he definitely wins. I can feel a difference in the weight, and it's not a small difference. So we're going to set Menasor over here to the side. Don't step on that bat over there. Okay, there we go. All right, Menasor's off to the side. Next up is Superion. So I don't have Superion's final arm. Instead, I have Vortex, aka Alpha Bravo. So we got Alpha Bravo on Superion at the moment for this video. So let's take a look at them together. And I really appreciate that, we get Alpha Bravo with Superion. That's a fun little thing that I wasn't expecting, and I really hope that they actually give us a really good colored Alpha Bravo. Now let's take a look at them side by side. There we go. Hey. Oh man, these guys are hard to move around. All right. Oh no, Devastator. What did I do? What happened? What happened, Devastator? It's okay. It's okay. I got you, buddy. I got you. Your little heels came unfolded. That's what happened. Okay. Moving them close together. There we go. And we get that Superion and Devastator. Yeah, Superion is the same as Menasor. They're basically... I mean, they are because they share the skeleton. But there's definitely not a difference there. Much of a difference. Now, weight-wise, interestingly enough, they are similar. They are very similar in weight, more so than Menasor in Devastator. And I think that's because parts of Menasor, don't combine, but everything in Superion combines. So Superion wins in the weight department, but not by much. But he definitely is heavier than Menasor, but lighter than Devastator. We're going to set Superion over to the side here. And yeah, most of this beginning video is just going to be some fun comparisons. So now we have Armada Prime. Kind of give you an idea of a super robo compared. Here we go. Devastator definitely looks all over Armada Prime. Armada Prime's super mode is big, but Devastator is bigger. Boom. That is some bigness right there. Armada Prime at the top of his head. Wow, your head is so much smaller than Devastator too. The top of Armada Prime's head goes to the top of the purple thing that makes up Devastator's chest. So, side-by-side comparisons for the two. Devastator's shoulder is, whoa, a lot taller, like 4 fingers worth taller than Armada Prime's shoulder. So we're going to set Armada Prime over here. Out of the way so I don't knock him over. It's always my fear whenever I'm doing these things that I'm going to knock one of these big guys over, because I definitely don't want to do that. that would be very sad. Okay, now for Devastator and his friend, or his ex-friend, Omega Supreme, which you probably can't see all of Omega Supreme in the video because he's so tall. But here we go. Devastator at Siege goes to just midway up the chest of Omega Supreme. I think that's not bad. That's not bad. Now, CW Devastator actually went up to about... actually, no, that's not mid... That's his groin there. I am... Oh. Devastator goes up to the top of the abs of Omega Supreme, where CW Devastator kind of went up this big shield on Omega Supreme's chest. I believe CW Devastator stood right below it. So that is a definite difference in height for the two, and I think this works for Devastator better. Now, they can't really fight too much, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, now I'm going to set Omega Supreme on the floor. You're just massive, buddy. You're just too big. Okay. Oh. And that's almost all of the size comparisons I've got. Now I just got 2 more to do because, why not have some fun with it? And that is a Lego piece. Okay. We've got... Where's my Optimus Prime? Sliding things around on the shelf. You got this. Come on. Hey, get out in front of him. I need the Prime. I don't need you. Come on, Prime. There we go. It's like a little bit of a puzzle lock to get the bigger Transformers from behind all the smaller Transformers on your shelf. Here is Robots in Disguise 2001 Optimus Prime, the HasLab for 2024. And let us compare them face to face. We get a not really that big of a difference, honestly. Like, Prime here, his head goes to just... Let's see. Okay. There's your head, and yeah, just about the same height as Armada Prime. A little taller than Armada Prime, but not by much. Side-to-side comparison for the two, and we get, yeah, the shoulders for RID Prime are really nice, but Devastator's shoulders are definitely the taller shoulders here. Now, there you go. RID Prime's put off to the side, and now we have one final comparison for the day before I start the review off really good. Star Convoy. Because I figured, why not compare him to the smallest Titan class, right? because Devastator used to be a Titan class and one of the smaller Titans. So now we get to compare him to the smallest Titan. Isn't that fun, Devastator? You're having fun, right? Okay, so comparing Devastator's head, his head goes to just below, or right between the windshields for Star Convoy. Yeah, right there, right at the top of the windshields at that point for Star Convoy. That's pretty cool. And now side-by-side comparison. Twist you guys this way. Here we go. And Star Convoy's shoulder is definitely bigger than Devastator's shoulder. These guys are wild. Weight-wise, funny enough, the Star Convoy and Devastator weigh about the same. Their weight is not much different between the two, though Devastator's made out of some denser plastics than Star Convoy. Now let's set Star Convoy off over here to the side. Okay. That was fun. I like the comparisons. They make me happy. And I hope that you enjoy the comparisons too, because they do help with people understanding about the sizing. And did I have another one to compare? I don't have a Bumblebee in robot mode at the moment. Anyway, now let's really get down and dirty with talking about the review for this guy, because I really want you to understand, what I like and dislike about him. Because there's a few things, but the likes definitely outweigh the dislikes with this. So first and foremost, I'm going to do something with Devastator right now that I never would have done with CW Devastator, because I was absolutely terrified of him falling apart. Let's do it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I'm shaking him upside down. He's sideways. He's on his back. He's on his other side. Oh, he's flipped upside down again. Oh no, his gun fell off. Oh, such a shame. He could just do spins in the air. This is such a good Devastator when it comes to his assembly. He doesn't fall apart. He is a solid dude. He is solid, except for whenever Scrapper's little bucket unclips itself, which is the dislike. There, like I said, there are a couple of dislikes, and number one dislike is that Scrapper's bucket needed a stronger attachment point, I think. Otherwise, I think they found a way to put these arms, have something extending behind them that could have connected to the back of the bucket. Then you would have had a sturdier foot there. And I know it would have messed up the look of the foot, because it would have been a piece of plastic between those two. But I think the guy definitely needed some other attachment down here to help stabilize this bucket foot. Otherwise, very good stuff. Now, shaking aside, we can move his arms back, because they did kind of wiggle around a bit. But his hands didn't fall off, and isn't that cool? And I love it. So we talked about his weight, and now let's just work our way up. So first and foremost, he's got 2 feet, but they are not the same. One is the front of a cement truck, and I love how the transformation for the foot kind of spun the front around, because technically speaking, the front of the truck should be under his foot right now. And they managed to find a way to spin that front around and give it this nice look, which definitely the CW Devastator did not have, because CW's Devastator's front toe looked like it was malformed. Like, this was Devastator, but he had a birth defect. It was a defective foot. Now this is much better. It's solid, it's big and square. There's not really much sticking out the front for toes, but that's okay, because this guy's foot is epic. I love it, and I like how solid it is. It's definitely one of the more solid feeling combiner feet, where I don't have many combiner feet to compare him to in my collection, because you saw all my combiners. But this definitely, I like how the foot rests. I also like how the little mixing tray works out there. You can also take this mixing tray. Can we actually open it up right now? No, it's locked in. So I did think maybe there was a possibility of putting the mixing tray for the cement bin up, but right now I do have it folded into the cement barrel so that it's out of the way. There's a little spike that sticks up, which I think is kind of neat. And that's his leg. There's not much going on, except that you got the cement bit and then the foot, and then you spit him around here to the side. You got his wheels that run up the side, so there's one wheel down here at the bottom, and then he's got his other two wheels and his arm just kind of hanging out there. And that's a shame. Once again, I wish that we could have done more with those arms, but they're okay just kind of chilling. But don't connect them because this ankle ratchet here, which is really good. A really good ankle ratchet. Like if I kick that arm up at 90 degrees and that arm at 90 degrees, this ankle ratchet is wild. It can almost go 90 degrees. And it's really easy for Mixmaster's ankle ratchet. Like, Mixmaster is a really good limb. That is amazing. Now, let's come over here to the limb that tried but didn't really study for any of the tests. So, that's Scrapper here. He's got the big bucket on the front, and you get this huge wide bucket that, you know, we talked about eating bumblebees. Like, let's grab a bumblebee. We got a bumblebee. It's always easy to grab a bumblebee once you've been collecting enough Transformers. So we got the bumblebee here, and he's like, you know, he could just be scooped up. So, you know, Devastator here can just go scoop and scoop him away. I love it. Oh, it makes me smile every time. So that's something fun you can do with the front of Devastator's foot. Definitely a fun little action feature, if you will. That the foot is only connected by 2 tabs, so it folds up very easily if you're not careful. And so you got to lock that down. And then on the side, we got a lot of hollowness in this foot because it's just his 2 arms folded down, and then that scoop in the front. And I do wish they had given us a little more infrastructure in here to stabilize it a bit better. It also has a ankle tilt, but it's a nigh impossible ankle tilt. His ankle tilt sucks. That's why I was like, he didn't study for any of the tests. There it is. So it does work. It does get you almost the 90 as Mixmasters. It's just harder to do because of how that center area works and how hollow that section is. So you don't really have anything to grab onto to help stabilize the connection there. Now we're moving up here to his thighs, and these thighs are epic. I like how big and round and thick they are. You know, AC/DC would be proud of these thighs. That's all I'm saying. Okay, because he'd be a big-bottomed girl. Now we've got some details in the thighs, but not really that much. And I'm pretty sure the painting on this will be really good. But texture-wise, there's not much going on. And with thighs this big, like you got these little rectangle bits sticking out the sides. With thighs this big, I was hoping there would be more when it came to the textures. Though we do have kind of a fun corrugated texture here on the side. Like it feels a bit like a dump truck. And I think maybe that's what they were trying to go with when it comes to the textures. They were trying to make it feel like the side of a dump truck. Because you feel up here at Long Haul, and the textures on the side of Long Haul's dump truck mode feel similar to the textures on the side of Devastator's legs. So I'm wondering if that's what they were trying to go for there. Now the inset on the legs, not too bad. We got some really fun robot textures in there, some grooves, a couple of pistons, some wiring that's all etched in there, and I really like that. You know, that's fun. That the robot textures are kind of in the inset of the thigh, and the vehicle texture is on the outset of the thigh. Really nice. Though the front of the thigh should have gotten some vents at least. You know, we could have gotten a couple of vents. Really make it look nice. Vents make everything look better. Now we come up here to the front, and his skirt is... I appreciate that they decided to give us individual skirts for him. I hate it whenever you get this big long skirt, but it's just one big piece that moves up and down at the same time. So this was really nice. It was well done. And though there's some textures in this, there's some really big etchings. Like, I like how this works because this makes it feel like a big piece of armor that's got big slabs of armor planted on it instead of just a piece of plastic. It works out pretty good. Then we come over here to his groin. He's got a couple of little etching things on it, but there's not really much going on here. Though for some reason there's a flight stand right there, and you would think that flight stand would be in the back. Unless... Oh my god. You know what? Did I assemble his thighs backwards? Let's see if I can fix this problem real quick. Do you have the swivel where you can swivel your? Yeah, you can swivel. You can swivel. But you don't really swivel 360s. No, you don't do that. Okay. Well, that's weird. I think I may have assembled the thigh backwards. I don't know how I did that, but I'm pretty sure the flight stand port should be on the rear of the thigh, and this really fun textured stuff shouldn't be so hidden. Can I just spin that around? Let's see. What can spin around here? Yeah. No, not going to be able to get that 360, so I'll check that out later, and if I inadvertently screwed that up, I'll let y'all know in a post later, or I'll pin a comment on this video about that, because the rear of his groin area, or the other side, has got some really cool textures on it and stuff, but no skirts. That's why I was thinking this has got to be the front, but that's weird that there's a flight stand there. So you can plug a flight stand into the front of his groin. Though I don't know how YouTube will mark that video. They may mark it 18+ if you do that. So I don't advise doing that. Unless you're really wanting to make some fun pictures for Instagram. Okay, moving on. We've got up here to his upper area. We got the two wheels that make up the trailer, kind of hanging out, making up the side of his body here. Very similar to Siege Optimus Prime, how his two wheels folded up into the right around the ab area of him, and it did make for a nice texture and feel, and that's what this does here. I really like how they work those wheels in to make them just kind of part of Devastator. Now we move up here to his long haul zone, and you can't really see much of him because long haul's kind of hidden up by this by the purple thing, but he's in there. And there's bits of him as the lower body. So we've got this little ab area that makes up long haul connected to the trailer. And then we have the upper chest area, which is this big old purple rectangle thing, and its little wings that spread off to the sides. And the wings themselves do have some textures on them. They're not blandly textured at all. They've got really good textures, and there's some vents. That's why I really like them, because we got two big vents, one on either side. And we got the two little gun things that point downwards, and then this big barrel thing that points upwards. And it is just a big old center crest thing that I absolutely love, because you just don't get much of that. You don't get fun big crests. That's why him and Omega Supreme get compared a lot, I think, is because they both have fun big crests. Now, up here on his shoulders, for Devastator, we have the Hook's crane that just kind of hangs out in the front, so Devastator can use it to whack things. Or you can just kind of pick it up a bit, spin it around, and then store it to his back. Good, I didn't poke myself in the eye with that. You can lay it around to his rear if you want to point it backwards. It all depends on looks. I really appreciate all these random construction vehicle things up here at the top on his shoulder area, because it is left shoulder. We've got the bulldozer blade that you can kind of spin over if you want. You can move it around. It's got its own shape and feel, so you can kind of change the silhouette of Devastator how you want. I like the blade, and I like the etchings on the back of the blade for Devastator mode. Those etchings we talked about when we discussed Bone Crusher, now they're right there for all to see, and it works out gloriously. Now we come over around here to the other side, where we have Scavenger as the right shoulder, and his big old bucket thing can kind of reach over and almost grab his head. I like that. You can fold it up and have it just kind of chilling with it sticking out a bit further, giving him a big old shoulder spike, so he can, ram that spike into a Superion. Notice Superion here, he can just go bam and ram that spike right into him if he wants, which I think is a little fun thing you can do with his shoulder. You can turn it into a big old Zaku shoulder. Ow, I poked myself in the throat. His poor hips came undone because I've been playing with him too much. So that's a fun thing you can do with this thing. You can turn it into a Zaku spike for the shoulder. You can also open it up, rotate the bucket, and then it kind of just gets folded down and can almost, but not quite, but almost cover his hand. And I think it's neat that that can happen. And I wish it had one more joint so that he could actually bend it all the way down and it could cover his hand. But at this, you know, he can just kind of start grabbing things and keeping them in buckets. I don't know. It's neat. And so we'll just rotate that back around. Oh no! It all folded back up. We got this. Okay, so put... There it goes. There you are. Oh, hey now. Don't fight me. That is a very solid connection. It comes undone sometimes, but it's very good. So we're going to pick that up and drape that across the shoulder again. It's just so fun. So up here it is shoulders, where we, not discussing, you know, the bone crusher scavenger. We actually have some, on his right shoulder area, we have the canopy for the pilot station, or the driver station for Hook. Hook's hook crane mode. That's on that shoulder. And then Devastator's head is, of course, in the middle. We got a lot of corrugated metal texturing around Devastator's head. I really appreciate that. Like, there's just this big area. It feels industrial. It feels strong. It feels sturdy. It feels like Devastator. We come over here over to the other side, and we've got the hook platform for the crane hook, and it's scooted all the way over for the arm connection. We get some really good textures here. We got the hook, you know, the crane pilot station kind of facing backwards, and not really much on the corrugated textures on the hook department. But around here to the back end, we do have some that stick out the rear area. There's a little bit there, and there's just a little bit over here, but not much. There's not much, but it's there. You know, they did pay attention to that stuff, and, you know, for all the griping I've done on textures throughout this series, talking about Devastator here, I'm seeing how all the textures come together independently to really make Devastator as a whole pop. The real focus on this was the Devastator, and that did make the vehicle modes a little subpar in comparison. But this Devastator definitely wins the award. So we come over here to his head, and like how his head platform works. His head's got, I think it's just a smidge too small for Devastator, but with how everything's crowded in here, it was really hard to get, I'm assuming it was really hard to get that head any larger. So Devastator's head here's got his big old glasses, and then we got his big old nose, his big rectangular nose, and then his large mouth. I love his aviator glasses, his big purple glasses. So goofy, but such an, it's just awesome thing. Yeah, terrified the Autobots for sure. Now we come around here too. We'll talk about Scavenger's arm first. Scavenger's arm here is really good when it comes to the articulation, as long as you move that bucket backwards. 360 degree. He can raise his shoulder up to a 90. That's really good. And then so for the Scavenger arm, it's just the top of the vehicle mode with the scoop switched around. So there's not really much difference here. Not really much has changed with Scavenger's arm mode from vehicle mode. Now now there is a negative here at the arm, and that's the negative that we had last time with this Devastator, and that's this arm connection. So it's goofy. Okay, I was really hoping they'd found a way to make it ungoofy, but sadly they didn't, and so it means his elbows got to raise up in a very specific way, and you wouldn't think that's the right way because you keep wanting to put the side of his arm facing upwards, but the big broad side of his arm has to face upwards. And growing up, I had a friend who had his let's see if we can fix this guy. He's getting a little wobbly. Don't be so wobbly, Devastator. Stop being so wobbly. Okay, good. So I had a friend growing up who, the two bones in his forearm here, he didn't have two bones there. He just had one large bone that went all the way down. And he could kind of rotate his wrist a little bit, but if he wanted to move his hand upwards, he had to kind of rotate his shoulder down. And he figured it out. Like the guy who figured it out for sure, but it definitely looked like it was an awkward life. That's kind of what I get with this guy. It's definitely kind of an awkward life. Like, he'll make it work, that's for sure, but it does make things harder. And I don't know why they couldn't have given us a fun little, a nice fun ball joint in there. So we've gotten maximum movement. Or at least a ratchet so that Devastator here could hold things and not worry about his hand falling back down. So that is kind of the negative. I really wish there was a sturdier elbow here, and that elbow joint had been changed to allow side motion instead of this weird up and down motion that makes me weird. It weirds me out a little bit. But the hand does rotate 360 degrees, which is nice. And then the four fingers close on the thumb, and there's a little siege port in there so that you can have him hold things. Now his big old purple hand is the same on both sides. We got a big old circle thing on either side of it, and then a bunch of armor stuff at the top. I remember growing up, I always imagined it just looked like he was wearing some big purple rubber gloves. That's kind of the impression I get here too, with how they feel. They just feel like big purple leather gloves, or maybe even big purple latex gloves, whatever gloves, science gloves, rubber gloves. We come over here to the other side, and I do have, I forgot to mention Scavenger does have his gun plugged in to that port. And on the other side, I have two guns plugged into Bone Crusher because I needed to store one of the guns. This guy can actually store all the weapons for everything. Like, everything can store on him. It's quite amazing. I do love it. So we got the two guns on this, the Bone Crusher's bulldozer mode. This fun textures. I love the engine texture in this little gappage zone right next to the blade, and of course the vents at the top. We come down here, we've got the hand, and not much different is there either. It all holds together quite well. It all feels solid and glorious in the hand, and definitely this guy is he's a must-have, I think. Now, I didn't discuss his legs, but his legs do pull a 90 at the knee, and we do get a full 90 at the waist and the front, and because of his back kibble, not so much on the rear, and then a very stiff side joint. And your gun fell off of Scrapper. We're to set that where the gun fell off of Hook. So now we'll discuss a couple of the negatives, which I didn't discuss his back too much because a lot of people have not been liking his back because of this weird backpack that sits halfway down his back. Would have liked it if we had had a way to, like, because they've done this in the past with Transformers, but a way that Long Haul's legs could have split one more time, and then half of his legs could have folded forwards, or a chunk of them could have folded up forwards and attached to the back of Hook here, and that would have hidden some of this back kibble for Hook that you can feel. You got the joint right there behind the head of Devastator, and you got some holes and stuff all here. And all of that could have been hidden if we had found a way to have, Long Haul's legs could have split and covered more of the area here. And so that Long Haul's legs just kind of hang out there as a big old bucket for the dump truck, hanging out around his butt. Then we get the extra trailer pieces that you unfolded to make the trailer, and they just kind of hang out as a back skirt. And you know what? Armada Prime gave us a back skirt, and he gives us a back skirt. But let's see, whose back skirt is worse? Is it Armada Prime's, or is it Devastator's? Let's take a look. So I got Armada Prime right here. Armada Prime, your back skirt is not too shy. Oh wait, no, that was the front skirt. Oh yeah, here you go. Here's your back skirt. Oh, look at that full diaper. So yeah. No, Devastator's back skirt, when you compare it to what they did to Armada Prime, much better. Much better. Now, the big difference between... Actually, no, because you can't even take Armada Primes off either. So I do wish that they had given us the little plastic connections for at least one of these joints, so that we could have just taken this little floppy bit of the trailer and just popped it off if we wanted to do a sleeker mode. And then it would have been nice. I think maybe we could actually take these legs off by sliding the hinges out on either side of the upper leg. Sometimes you can do that. And then you can take away the dump truck, and you can take away the flaps. But sadly, you have to use some little pin and take out the metal pin for the flaps. It's a big shame with the flaps. But the back of the legs, amazing. I love how all that comes together, how all that feels. That's not bad at all. The back of the arms, also really well done. Up here it hooks back, and not so much. And definitely long hauls back it's a bit chunky. But that's not the worst. These aren't the worst backpacks I've ever seen. Like, this guy he's not bad, and comparing him to CW Devastator, this is an S-class. And I think it is, even by itself, standing here alone by itself. I am biased a little bit because Devastator is a favorite of mine, but I'm going to label this combiner as an S-class combiner. He is leaps and bounds better than CW Devastator. And yeah, I know he's not as big, but sometimes size doesn't matter. It's really the performance that matters. And even though CW Devastator was big, he wasn't long lasting. You play with him too long, he pops and he's gone. 86 Devastator? 86 Devastator will take you all night long. That's what I think. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Blind Prime, and I would have had Cream the Cat here with me today, but I have too many giant things on the table, and he likes knocking giant things over. So I didn't want Omega Supreme to fall. Thank you all so much for watching. Please tune in next Prime. I'm going to have something for you next week. I haven't figured it out what it is yet, but I definitely will let you know in the coming few days. Until then, bye-bye for now.